Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a foundation review for you guys, and that is going to be on the new Juvia'S shade sticks. So just for full transparency, I was sent these in PR, but that does not ever affect how I feel about a product. So this is what they look like. I'm sure you have seen them before. So the website says it's a full coverage, natural radiant finish, multi-purpose foundation stick in 30 shades. It says it's formulated to feel like skin, weightless, multi-purpose formula, glides on seamlessly to cover imperfections while giving full definition to the face. It's infused with shea butter and oil controlling ingredients to aid in long wear time while providing radiance, and then paraben-free, phthalate-free, sulfate-free, and gluten-free. I would not say it is full coverage, but we will kind of get into that. So I have used these quite a few times at this point. I did buy one, like I found out I was recently added to their PR list, and I actually went out and bought one of these when they launched. I bought my color at Ulta when they first launched at Ulta, and then literally the next day I found out that they were sending me the PR kit, so whatever. But I did actually buy it on my own too. They're $16, which I think is pretty kind of middle of the road, you know, for cosmetics. It's not necessarily super drugstore price, but it's definitely not the price of like the Makeup Forever foundation stick, the Hourglass, you know, those high-end ones that are a lot more expensive. Fairly simple packaging, plastic, rolly tube, kind of standard, I guess. So my shade is Nepal for the most part. The thing with me, and if you've been following me long enough, you guys know I really don't like foundation sticks. The only ones that I've tried that I actually like are the Makeup Forever HD foundation stick and the Makeup Revolution Fast Base foundation stick. Those are like the only ones I like. I recently, if you guys watched my last couple videos, I recently tried the Neutrogena Healthy Foundation Stick, or whatever in the world it's called. Oh my god, that foundation was literally terrible. Like, it was a foundation stick with the lightest coverage ever. So you like kept having to put it on to get it to cover anything, and then it just felt like you had straight like thick oil on your face. It was awful, okay? My issue I tend to have with foundation sticks is I feel like foundation sticks are drying and they tend to like enhance my texture, if that makes sense. So whenever I use a foundation stick, I usually don't like it. So we will see if I like this. I mean, I already know how I feel about it, but I don't want to give it all away right now. So I'm using the shade Nepal. Now this is technically maybe a little dark for me, but if I go too light, like if I try too hard to match exactly to my face color in a foundation stick especially, the lightness of it, I feel like I've heard Raw Beauty Christy talk about this too. The lightness of the lighter color will tend to pick up on my texture more. So I don't necessarily use a color that's extremely too dark for me. I just use a color that's maybe a shade or two darker than my natural skin tone. And then I just, you know, blend it on my neck. I brighten up with concealer and all that jazz. Just because I know that if I go super light, it has like an enhanced chance, I guess, of accentuating my texture. So you'll notice that when I put Nepal on, it's pretty close. It's just like a tiny bit too dark, but it's not bad at all. So to start off, I'm going to prep my skin whenever I'm doing cream foundation, like stick foundations. I do a little more prep than usual. Still not that much, but just a little more than usual. So for the entire routine I'm gonna do here for you guys, I'm gonna use the foundation stick, and then pretty much everything else is just gonna be kind of like normal routine, my normal favorite products that work for me. So that way I feel I can give this foundation the best chance, because I'm gonna use it how I would normally use it. I'm not gonna use it with like a different powder than is my favorite, a different concealer than is my favorite, nothing like that, because I want the only variable here to be the foundation, to see if the foundation really works with my normal routine. So I'm gonna start off by spraying on some hydrating mist. This is the e.l.f. Dewy Skin Mist, but I finally transferred it to a different bottle because I was tired of getting hosed down every time I used it. This is just a little Fix Plus bottle. I didn't realize the spray is like a milky color. It's so weird when I was pouring it out. But yeah, this is the e.l.f. Dewy Setting Mist, not Max Fix Plus. And I'm actually, because it's just what I like to do with this setting mist, when I spray it like first before my makeup, I like to rub it in. I don't know, it just feels better that way. If you notice, my eyes are a little bit red. It's because I was wearing purple eyeshadow yesterday and it stained my eyes. Alrighty, and then for primer, today I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is the only primer I actually like. And I'm just gonna put this on in a light layer with a brush, and I always start from the center of my face and just pull it outwards in a very, very thin layer. Okay, we are primed. I highly recommend that e.l.f. primer. My skin feels so nice and smooth, which again is gonna be especially good going in with a stick foundation. If your skin is more smoothed out and really prepped, any stick foundation is gonna work a lot better. So like I said, I'm gonna use the shade Nepal. You can see it's just a little bit darker than my natural skin tone, but it's nothing crazy. Now in trying this is definitely more of a medium coverage. I don't think this is full coverage, but it's definitely very buildable. So if I put a light layer like I'm going to do right now, I'm gonna blend it in with a beauty blender. Also with a stick foundation, I prefer not to use a brush because the brush can like enhance any texture you have going on. So whenever I'm using a stick foundation, I generally will use a sponge to get like the best seamless finish. But as you can see, once it's blended in, it definitely covers pretty well, but it's not like overly heavy. Okay, so here's half my face done with a super light layer of the stick foundation. And I'm gonna zoom you in here a second as well so you can see the texture and kind of how it looks close up. But as you can see, you get a really nice coverage, definitely a medium coverage, not a full coverage. But I really love the way it looks with like one layer, especially if you want to go for more of like a natural look, something simple. You can do a couple swipes of this and blend it in, and it's going to give you a really pretty like natural coverage for an everyday thing. But I will show you how it does build up to a more full coverage. I hope you can see pretty well. It does not accentuate any of my texture, which is something I really love about this particular foundation stick. Like I said, there's not many I like because a lot of them are too drying and they pull up texture. But as you can see with this one, there's no spots that look dry or kind of rough or anything like that. Even on my nose, it's blended really nicely around kind of this area here. Now, there isn't a lot of coverage. Like I said, it's more of the medium. So you can definitely still see some of my nose redness, but I'm okay with that as long as the texture, you know, is not peeking through. So yeah, I think the kind of, I guess you'd say the texture of this stick is really nice. And yeah, I really, really like the finish. It's a very subtle kind of satiny finish. I don't know if you can see that like on my cheekbone when I turn. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this side with another layer, and then I will put just a little extra on any areas of redness on these sort of like lovely pimple I have right here, so you can see how it builds up. All right, so here is another layer. So I did this side, and then as you saw, I kind of just like dabbed a little extra here around these like areas where I have some blemishes. And it's, to me, the perfect amount of coverage for me. If you're someone who's looking for that like insane full coverage, then you might think this isn't enough. And you might be better off using their liquid foundation. But if you're looking for like a really good medium to full, and you want more of a natural finish, this is it. And I love it. It's so pretty. So now I'm going to show you how the deeper shades can contour. So in the line, if you find a shade that looks like a nice deeper shade, you can use it for contouring, and I think it looks amazing. So I'm going to use this shade for my skin tone. This is Dominica, and it's like a in the tan range. And I find this one is a little more neutral of an undertone. Some of the ones in the tan range, obviously they're made for other people's skin tones, so they can be more yellow based, more orange based, more red based, but I feel like Dominica is a really nice neutral based color. So definitely good for contouring if you're like a light to medium skin tone. So I'm just putting a little of that all around. Because this is creamy, you can sort of put on your lines everywhere first before you go in and blend. Usually I don't do that. Usually, if you've watched me long enough, I do like one part, blend it, the next part, blend it, you know, that kind of thing. But because this is a little more creamy, you can do it this way. And I just did a little swipes And now I'm just gonna go in with like a fluffy synthetic brush to blend this out. And as you can see, it blends out very quickly and it looks so natural. It blends really well, obviously, into the stick that we had underneath. So they blend well into each other. But it's very, very effortless. If you've ever done like cream contouring and you felt like you were blending forever, you felt like it looked patchy or didn't blend well, these sticks are great for cream contouring. I did also cream contour with these with the regular Juvia's Place foundation, and I did it with some other foundations. I did it with the Flower Beauty foundation that I really like. And no matter what foundation I've used so far with these, to do cream contouring, it always blended in really easily. So if you're someone who wants to cream contour, but again, you've found a lot of cream contours hard to blend, or they get patchy, or anything like that, I think this is a great option. Even if you don't use this as a foundation, if you just get it as the contour, it would work very, very well. So now at this point, I'm just gonna go in with my normal routine. I did try this, if you saw my IGTV video where I demoed these for the first time. I used one of the lighter shades to conceal under my eyes, but because this foundation is, like I said, more of a medium coverage and you had to build it up, I didn't like it myself personally for doing concealing. So I'm gonna go in with some regular concealer and then the rest of my routine, and then I will come back with the rest of my makeup finished so you guys can see how it looks. And then I will try to do like a wear test as well. Right now, it's already 3:40. So by the time I finish the rest of my makeup, it's gonna be after 4. So I'm not necessarily gonna be able to make this like super long wear test because I work based on naps at this point, and Lily's naps and her schedule. So I can't perfectly film videos to where I can always get like a full 8 to 10 hour wear test. So I'm sorry about that, but I'll try to do like 4 to 6 hours if I can. If it's gonna be around 4 by the time I'm finished, I'll try to maybe do like a wear test and check back in later in the night, maybe at 10 if I can stay up that late. Last night we had friends over, I stayed up until 9:30 and I felt like I was gonna die. I was so tired, like I don't know what's wrong with me. So I'm going to try to stay up until like 10. Okay, but before I get too into that, let me finish off the rest of my makeup and I will be right back to show you how it looks fully completed. All right guys, so here is the makeup fully completed. Did my eyes, my lips, and blush and highlight and stuff. I will have a video on this full color look, my eyes, lips, all that stuff. It's gonna be my next video I upload. So if you wanna see how I did the rest of this stuff, then just stay tuned for the next video. But here is how everything looks completely done. I'm gonna zoom in again here so you can see kind of close up how the foundation is laying with like all my color products and everything else on top. All right guys, so here's how we are looking after a full face is on. So looking kind of close up here, everything looks pretty good. I look like I have a little texture around my nose, but I wouldn't say it's anything super out of the ordinary for me. So yeah, any texture I have like around my nose, my cheeks, my chin, it's nothing necessarily super out of the ordinary for my skin type. I would say pretty much most foundations that I really like, this is kind of how they look, pretty much. So nothing, the stick isn't like exacerbating or making my texture look any worse than it just kind of naturally does. So yeah, this is what we are looking like. I hope you guys can see everything. So yeah, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna keep this on as long as I can. Hopefully I will be back in like 6 hours at 10 o'clock. Let's hope I can stay up that late to show you guys how it's laying after it's been on my skin for a couple hours. Okay guys, so I made it 6 hours, it's 10 o'clock. So I just wanted to give you my check-in. So it's been, like I said, 6 hours and this is how we're looking. So I'm definitely a lot more shiny than I was the last time I So you guys, but not too bad. It's pretty much stayed on pretty well. My lip is really worn off. Also, my hair is up because I took a shower. I'm in my jammies, okay? So no judgment, but I'm gonna zoom in again here just to show you again sort of like a close-up of how everything's looking. So it's still looking good. Like I said, definitely some oil popping through, but it's still holding up, I think, really well. It's settled a little bit into my fine line here and on my foreheads across there. But otherwise, I think everything still looks pretty good. My highlight's still popping, my blush is still on. All that stuff is still on at this point. So I think it's held up pretty good, I think, especially for a stick foundation, because they don't tend to work well with my skin at all. So I'm actually really happy with how this particular stick works with my skin type for sure. So final thoughts here for you just to kind of wrap it all up. I do really like this stick foundation. I like the coverage, that it's not like full coverage, because sometimes they can be a little more heavy, especially in a stick form, because sticks tend to be a lot more creamy. I enjoy like a medium to full, you know what I'm saying? Which I think this is for the most part. As you saw in the video, it does build up on itself really well. I do think it stays on obviously pretty well. I have worn this like a full day and it does get pretty oily. So I would say if you're someone who is like super oily and you don't want to be oily, this is not for you. Get like the original Juvia'S Face Liquid Foundation. Generally, if you're like super oily, you need to stay away from stick foundation if you want to be matte, because I haven't found a stick foundation that doesn't get like shiny throughout the day, you know? But if you're someone who is like a normal skin type, a dry skin type, or I'm oily myself, but I don't mind looking a little shiny as long as it doesn't like break down and look gross. And that's what I think about this one. You're going to look glowy for sure after a couple hours, definitely. But even though you're glowy, it doesn't like break down and start looking weird, if that makes sense. I think it holds up really well. Definitely like this for foundation and contouring. I don't like the lighter, using a lighter shade as a concealer. Like I said before, I want something with just a little more coverage. And so I would use just like a regular concealer. But if you're looking for a good cream contour, if you're looking for a good stick foundation that's gonna be more on like the medium side and then buildable if you want to build it up, this is gonna be a really good option for keeping your skin looking really nice and natural and not too overdone. So going back to kind of the claims that this foundation had, I agree that it's creamy. I agree that it's hydrating and buildable. I don't agree that it's full coverage. Like I said in this video a bunch of times, it's definitely more on the medium, but you can build it up if you want to. I think $16 is a pretty decent price for this. You know, I've used my stick, I've used it probably 5 or 6 times now, and it hasn't really gone down that much at this point. So I foresee something like this lasting probably, if you're using regular use, maybe 2-3 months. It should last you, at least in my opinion. But yeah, I highly recommend it. I think it's really great. And I definitely think it's worth a try if you fall into those categories I talked about before. So yeah, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching as always. If you're new, please subscribe. It would help me out a lot. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.